What's up, Cherryville? We are back again. Oh my god, I promised you guys that I was going to do more videos, and today we're doing yet another video. I'm with my girl Candis. She's a stylist from Icons Barber and Beauty Salon. She came to the class I taught a couple of weeks ago with Latham Alexander and Muffin Moses, and she pulled me to the side and she said, "Sir, I admire your work, and I would love to get some information on you about marketing your business, and would you mind if I take you out to dinner or have drinks or lunch or something?" And I thought that was amazing. I was like, cool, because I love sharing information. So I'm going to introduce you to her in a second, but before I introduce her, I'm going to give her an opportunity to ask me some questions in front of you guys. So Candace, give me a question.
Okay. My main question would be, what prompted you to one day say, I'm not going to do relaxed hair anymore, I'm just going to do natural hair, and that's all I'm going to do?
Wow, okay. It was a spiritual journey. Even my whole process of doing hair was spiritual, because I never did hair prior to going to beauty school. When I went to cosmetology school, it was my first time ever touching anyone's hair. So, and prior to that, I worked in corporate America. So my thing was wanting to find happiness. I was very good at what I was doing corporately, but I wasn't happy. So I personally feel like, just because you're good at something don't mean that you should do it. You can be a good asshole, but it doesn't mean be an asshole, So I went to hair school, and I specialized in weaves and extensions and, multicultural hair. But at the end of the day, I'm black, and I'm Afrocentric, and I've always adorned Afrocentric hair. And in the process of learning how to do other textures of hair and learning the chemistry of hair and cutting of hair, I utilized those skills on natural hair and was blown away with the results, because it was so much more easier for me, because the one thing that in particular that we have to be careful about when we do chemically treated black hair is over-processing.
Yes.
And because I'm a color specialist, I felt like when I did chemically treated hair, there were limitations to what I could do because there was already a chemical on that prior.
Yeah.
So when I got a chance to do color on virgin hair, woo, there was no going back for me for that, Today, I love all textures of hair. One of the biggest things that we have to decide when we make a transition from doing anything is to, sometimes we have to trick our mind, because our mind is delicate, and our mind programs us into, okay, you've told your mind this is beautiful. Right. And your mind is going to protect that. So when you tell yourself that European standards of beauty is what is your guide, when you try to introduce Afrocentric hair, your mind is going to fight you. It's going to question it. Yeah. So what I learned for me was when I introduced natural hair into my psyche as a beautiful thing, I introduced it to my pre-existing concepts of beauty as an additional form of beauty as opposed to a replacement. And when you introduce it as an additional form of beauty, it's an easier way for your mind to welcome it and embrace it. Cool. What's your next question?
Okay. You have a very interesting form of marketing, even before like Facebook and Instagram and all of that was even big. Your marketing was always like extraordinary to me, because you're a name that I've known. Like I've been a licensed stylist for 7 years, and you're a name that I've known for since like ever, like a long time. So even back then, your marketing was like what would you say would be your main marketing tool? Yes, your niche. Yes.
Promote your business.
In what way?
Well, even for me transitioning from doing relaxed hair and going into doing natural hair, I had to do it gradually. Before, if I did a photo shoot and I used 3 models, it was a model with long hair, it was a model with short hair, it was a model with medium length hair. When I was going through the transition, I had one model that was perm, one model that was natural, one model that had twists.
Yeah.
And then it went from a model with twists, a model with natural, model with locks. Then it went to all models with locks.
Yeah.
You know?
Got
So
you.
it was a gradual
Mm-hmm.
transition. And then I believe that setting trends.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have to create a mindset and create a lifestyle and live that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, prior to me doing locks or doing natural hair in the city, I really don't think that we as a community here in the Midwest and Indianapolis, we never visualized natural hair as sexy.
No,
you know, we
don't.
visualized it as motherly, wholesome, you know, honorable. But it wasn't nothing that was desirable, you know, and that has a lot to do with the government and media. You know, you don't see Afrocentric brides on TV. You know, you don't see Afrocentric women being love interests in music videos. You know, you don't see Afrocentric women on the cover of our magazines that's owned by white people. You don't see it, you know, so subconsciously, that's not what you want to be as a black person. So my biggest goal was to put these images out there, you know, and there was a spiritual battle between me and the pre-existing natural hair community that we had here in the city, because I didn't create natural hair here in the city. And a lot of people may think, okay, Terry created the natural hair movement. I did not. There was a very large natural hair community prior to me. What I will say that I created was a mainstream market of it, you know, because it was a very underground market, because there was no licensing involved, so you didn't see it in the salons. So with me having a cosmetology license and doing it in a salon, I exposed more people to it, you know, and it wasn't embraced by anybody. It wasn't embraced by the cosmetology industry. You know, they saw me as a threat. And then, ironically, the natural hair community didn't embrace it either. And I was kind of like, I was blown away by that in the beginning. I didn't understand that. And I was like, well, why? And they were like, well, you're making it too sexy. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And I understand today, you know, 10 years later, I understand that today. But back then, I didn't understand it. You know, 'cause I was like, well, what do you mean by making it too sexy? Like, well, you know, natural women has a sense of dignity and pride. And by you over glamorizing them, and by you making them more sexy, you know, they may become disrespected like the rest of the women in the world. And I was like, what do you mean by that? And you know, I'm cut and dry, I'm very honest, you know. And I was like, one time I was watching a porn, and I see the lady with locks in it, and I was like, I don't like that. And I had to think to myself, did I have something to do with that?
You crazy.
And that's me being racist, you know, thinking, okay, I don't want to see, you know, women of color.
Right.
Like that, you know, so, you know. I think that with marketing, you have to look at what the scheme of the market is, okay?
Right.
If you want to market something, you have to say, okay, well, what are the lifestyles of the people that you're trying to market? And create that and be that. You know, if you're looking for a certain type clientele, if you're looking for an executive clientele, well, what do executive people like to do? What are some key words that attract executive people? And implement that into your marketing. You know, and if that doesn't exist, create that in your marketing. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
A lot of sense. I was like, dang. Some key words.
You have to create some keywords, some key lifestyles, you know, and put those together so when people think of you, they think of that. You know, there's time in my career now, I find people like, oh, that's very Thierry Baptiste. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cute. You know?
That's awesome.
So, we're going to switch tables.
All right,
we're
cool,
going to switch it around.
Cool.
Okay, this is Candis, everyone. Say hello.
Hey, y'all.
Okay, Candis is a stylist at Icons.
Correct.
Okay, tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Me, myself, Candis. I am owner of Icons Beauty and Barber Studio. I've been a stylist, a licensed stylist anyway, for 7 years. I consider myself a multicultural hairstylist because I don't market to. I noticed about a lot of hairstylists, they just do African American hair, or they just cater to a Caucasian clientele, and I just want everybody to come and see me because I like all kinds of different people. When I first got out of hair school, I didn't have a clientele. I had kids and I had bills. So I went to Great Clips because I can get an hourly wage and I can get some tips. And I just made sure I went to Great Clips that were in like decent areas, like up north, or you know, in like a cool little spot where I could stay busy. And I'm so grateful for that because I got to cut literally all different textures of hair. I got to stick in. That's all I did for like 2-3 years in my career. So I got familiar with all different hair types. And when I left Great Clips and I rented a booth, I literally worked some everywhere, every side of town. I worked in the nicest of places, in the slums. I mean, everywhere. But when I left there, I noticed that I couldn't take my clients that loved me so much at Great Clips because they were extremely intimidated when they got to where I was renting a booth, and they're not coming that way. No. And I looked around and I really didn't see an environment for something like that. So I was having a bad day in the salon one day. And Fly one of my former clients, she was in my chair that day, and I was having a bad day in the salon, and she says, you know, my mom is selling her salon. It's in downtown. And my first thought was like, no, I ain't. First of all, it's downtown and I probably can't afford it. But I had my dad look into it for me. I'm very much so a daddy's girl. And I had my daddy look into it for me, and he went down there. He was like, it's, you know, it's not the best, but it's something to look into. And when I got there, it was on Vermont Street in the Star News building. And it was a salon that had been there for forever. Miss Charlotte, the lady that I bought the salon from, which is Fly's mom. She bought it from a lady named Mr. Charlie that had been there for forever. And the salon was kind of ran down, but it had these beautiful windows. It was the windows all the way around, and I was like, man, that is awesome. It's like a fishbowl. But I had to buy the business. And if I bought the business, then I didn't really have much money left over to fix it up. So, against my better judgment, because I was like, ugh, I just want to take this little bit of money that I got and just get me some equipment and go somewhere else with this, because I don't know if it's gonna work. But my mother kind of talked me into it, so I went for it.
Have a vision, you know. We have to have vision. We have to have vision.
I went for it, and I like I said, kind of against my better judgment. And I didn't really understand it at the time. But when I got there, the people that I've come in contact with, I've had Icons for 3 years. The people that I've come in contact with since I've been downtown are people I never would have met had I not been downtown. Like, I mean, people who were extremely substantial in my career, like 2 years into my lease. The lease was a 3-year lease. And I'm coming up on my 3 years having Icons. 2 years into my lease, the lease was terminated. The building was sold. So I was like, hey, now I got to find somewhere else to go. But now I've developed a clientele base down here. But I can't, move out of downtown. They're used to being down here, and that's why a big reason why they come to me. So I literally, Jesus, sweet little baby Jesus, found me 130 North Delaware. And it's right across the street from the city market, the city county building. It's literally right in the heart of downtown. It's a big jump from where I've come from. But I met my investor. Like I said, I wouldn't have never met the people that I met had I not been downtown. I met my investor. Are very important. Yes, they are. And I met my investor when I was at my place on Vermont Street. And when the lease was terminated, I told him my situation, and he was like, all right, cool, I'll help you out. And I mean, he like really helped me out, because I never would have got a loan like that from like a bank or nothing like that. I needed that investor, and I never would have met him had I not been downtown. That is such a blessing. And yes, it really, really.
So how many people do you have in your salon?
Right now, I have 3 people. I have Miss Marissa. Miss Marissa is new, and she's the baby of the salon.
Okay.
She's 20, so she's building, and she just started last week. So we're going to see how Miss Marissa does.
Welcome to the industry, Miss Marissa.
Yes, Miss Marissa.
Okay.
And Zach Adamson. Zach Adamson is on the City County Council Board. Actually, I think his seat is recently been removed, actually, but I'm sure he'll be on. So yes, definitely. It's no thing to him.
Right,
he's not tripping.
right.
But he's in my salon. He used to own Just Hair, which was just around the corner from my salon on Ohio Street.
Okay.
And he just moved over to the salon in March. And Darren is my ace. Darren been with me. He's been the constant through me having the whole company. He stayed when I bought the company on Vermont Street. Actually, Jackie Curry also too. She works at Eccentric Style Studio. She also stayed when I bought the company on Vermont Street. But then when we moved over to Delaware Street, we had to part ways. But Darren is the only person that has been with me the whole time since I had the company.
That's love.
Yes. So Darren is my boo right there.
Okay.
That's my
So
ace.
what? And we're going to talk today because we're talking about marketing.
Right.
You know, do you have a mission statement for your business? No. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to create that today.
I was about to say, not exactly.
Yeah,
some ideas, but not exactly.
Okay. And it's okay not to know. It's good to know that you don't know.
Well, I definitely know I don't know.
So we're definitely going to work on that today. Thank you for coming to the class. You know, it was actually my very first time teaching a class in Indianapolis. Tell me about your whole day there. You said something earlier off camera that I was laughing at. You was like, I didn't know I was going to make it because of how long the class was. Talk about that.
When Mr. Alexander brought me my tickets, I looked at the tickets and it said 10 to 4. And I was like, ooh, you know, what they going to be talking about from 10 to 4? And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, you know. And, you know, I've been to other classes around the city and, you know, I'd be like, nah,
I got to go.
I got to get out of here.
Right.
This is not, you know, no offense, but I'm not taking anything in. I'm not learning anything. And you guys had my undivided attention.
Wasn't
the entire time
Muffin
I wasn't
wonderful?
bored. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I saw Miss Muffin. It was my first hair show. It was at the Bronner Brothers show in Atlanta. And I remember her up on that stage. And I was just like mesmerized.
Yes.
So I was flabbergasted when Mr. Alexander I seen her name on it. I was like, how you know her? So
you know what's funny about Muffin? That was my first time. That weekend was my first time ever meeting her.
Really?
And I knew absolutely nothing about her. So, but I did know that she's someone that Latham loves. And with Latham being one of my mentors, I was ecstatic about meeting her. But we went out to dinner, and I told her, and I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to say this? And I said, well, hey, Muffin, I'm Thierry Baptiste. I said, I'm going to let you know something about me up front. I said, I am totally out the loop. I said, I live in my own world. I said, I have not watched television in 10 years. I said, Latham has told me some wonderful things about your artistry. He's told me that you've been on a few reality shows. He's told me a lot of great things about you. I said, I know absolutely nothing about you. I said, today will be your opportunity to introduce yourself to someone who has no prerequisite information about you and have nothing to judge you on.
And
she was like,
advantage.
oh, wow.
Yeah, never.
And so she was like, so what do you want to know? I said, are you happy? She's like, oh, this is going to be deep. You know, so we had a wonderful time, a wonderful conversation. So in the middle of dinner, me and her just laughing and having a good time. And Latham is just grinning. And I was like, why are you grinning, Latham? And he was like, I didn't know how you two was going to make it. He's like, because both of you got very strong personalities. Oh, it worked wonderfully. I learned some things that weekend from Muffin as well. So I was excited for the city to get someone with the knowledge that she had to share with us. And to actually have someone else on a staff of an educational board that was as blunt and direct as I am.
Yes. You
know?
guys reminded me a lot of each other when you were teaching.
Yeah,
it flowed very nicely.
Right,
actually.
because like I don't sugarcoat stuff. It is what it is. And she had the same style of educating, so it was very wonderful to be there with her. You, along with some other stylists, were kind of upset the fact that some people left the class because Muffin went on first and I was second. And if anyone ever goes to a class that I'm a part of, you'll never see me before noon. I'm not a morning person. I'm nocturnal. So definitely Muffin had the first part of the class and I came on second. And people were really pissed. And I was like, guys, don't be pissed about that. How did you feel?
Oh, I wasn't upset at all because I knew I was going to be there for the duration of the class.
Okay, good.
It worked out for me.
Yeah, I loved it. I felt like there were some people who had to leave because they had to go pick up kids and stuff like that. So I thought that was cool. And then, other people, hey, you missed it.
Yes.
And they did. They did. So we're going to get out of here. We're going to go eat and break bread and drink and laugh and giggle and talk about hair. You guys are going to see more of Candis and you're going to hear me talk more about her business. And I want to do more sessions like this with stylists. I'm a stylist who have had a wonderful career and I have met some wonderful people. And I'm going to be the first to tell you, anyone that I've ever met, anyone that I've ever thought did wonderful hair, I've met them and I've shaken their hand. And so opportunities like this are a blessing, So on that note, guys, we're out of here. Pow, pow, pow.